Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'll be looking at the best free hit picks for game week 8. This is only about game week 8, although a number of the picks are good for the medium term too. So this isn't for necessarily designed for looking at long-term picks like on a wildcard. Have a look at the wildcard video I did last week. That will certainly help out in that regard. But this is looking at the best players for game week 8. Also, it's a tricky week, game week 8. There's lots of injury doubts already emerging after the international break. I'm on a bench boost, and I think virtually all of them are injured at the moment. And especially with European matches for many of the players coming up after this weekend's fixtures. So there could be some rotation as well there. Before we get on, just a reminder, do press that like button, does help us out. Do remember to subscribe, keep updated with our latest videos and podcasts wherever you receive them as well. Also, do check out fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for latest membership offers to get access to all the latest tools and gadgets to help you climb up your mini leagues. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the fixtures for game week 8. And then I'm going to reveal the team. And I've used this using the planner tool on the app for Fantasy Football Scout. And what that does is that gives a sort of estimated score. And it gives a percentage about how brilliant it is. So 100% is absolutely perfect. Anything near to that is very, very good. So that's what I'm aiming for, really, as near as I can. I've yet to get 100%, but as near as I can to 100% on that one. Let's have a look at the fixtures. Okay, so I've got a picture of Enzo Fernandez, bit of a flavour at the moment, because Palmer is injured still. And so we think that Enzo Fernandez, he's in the mix for penalties, but he's also likely to play in a more advanced role. That may not be the case, but he's certainly of interest. He does have an inflammation on his knee, though, so do check out team news later in the week with myself and Neil. And where we'll find out a bit more about that. But the other reason is because a good run of fixtures starts now where Chelsea are away to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, along with Burnley, are two of the weakest teams at the moment. So they're quite handy to face. What do the fixtures tell us here? So it tells us that Burnley and Leeds are very handy assets to own this week. Lots of good cheap assets for them. They play each other. So it's a crunch game there. So expect, it could be anything could happen, really. So whether you've got defensive assets for DEFCON or you've got attacking assets there, the cheap players from there will be very, very handy. They're top of the ticker here. Same with Sunderland versus Wolves. They're a very strong game there. Sunderland assets could be good. Wolves assets as well could be good as well. I did a team reveal video with Tom Freeman, Fantasy Football Scout's deputy editor, earlier in the week, in which he was very keen on Wolves assets there as well. So obviously Chelsea and Newcastle are good there. Liverpool are at home to a leaky Manchester United. So that could be very good as well. Man City also at home as well. So good for Haaland, perhaps. Not say perhaps, definitely. To Everton, that could be good, especially as Everton will be out without their main creator, Grealish, who is ineligible to play against his parent club, which of course is Man City there. Looking at the fixtures here, so obviously Everton, Manchester United amongst the worst fixtures there, so not very good to get their assets in. Fulham as well, they've got a tough game against Arsenal. Nottingham Forest obviously got that Chelsea game. Brighton, Newcastle, tough to call, but Brighton usually do well against Newcastle, and they are at home. So expect goals in that one. I think the bookies expect goals too. Aston Villa against Tottenham, that's quite tough to call, that one. Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, another tough one to call, but both sides in very good form. Semenyo and Sarr could be popular there. West Ham at home to Brentford. That's okay. That's okay as a fixture. But a home game, so Bowen, Diouf could be very popular assets there. So that's the fixtures there. So let's have a look at the team. Let's see what I've come up with. Okay, so this team here, this is what I've got for game week 8. So I have to caveat this because I get comments in the chat saying, great team for you. It's not my team. They might say horrible team for you, but this isn't my team. This is, if I had a free hit, this is what I would do this week. So it's not a wild card team. It's not designed to last beyond game week 8, although there's a lot of players there I think are good for the medium term there. So I do like 3-5-2 or indeed 4-4-2. I think there's a lot of value and got good players in defensive midfield. I don't like attackers as much. I don't know if we can rely on them as much there. What I'll do is I'll read out the players and then I'll just go back to each one and explain why I've got them in there. So I've got a 3-5-2. Sanchez in goal Gvardiol, Mukiele, and Gabriel as the three back line there. I've got Anthony, Salah, Minter, Semenyo, and Sarr. Crystal Palace's Sarr, that is, across the midfield. And then I've got Haaland, who would be my captain if I was free hitting this week. It would be my captain anyway. And I've got Bowen there. Salah is my vice captain, so I like him there. Dubravka, Rodon, Hartman, Mark Gui on the bench. I've gone for really cheap on the bench here. Now this has got expected points of 59, basically 59, 60, anything over 60, really good. The percentage is 99%. It's going to be a low scoring week, I think, after the internationals, bit of rotation. As I explained with some of the fixtures, they're quite tough to call. Anything could happen. Could be 0-0s. But it's quite tough to call. So I think it's going to be quite a low scoring week in general, as in a low scoring average there. But so 59 is pretty good for this. 99% though, so that's almost getting to be perfect according to Rate My Team. So it clearly likes a lot of these picks here as well. The other good thing about the free hit, and I'll mention Salah in a bit more detail, but if you're free hitting, I don't like Salah and Haaland drafts in general, but in this week, it's actually perfect for it because Salah's quite a good pick, and we'll talk about him in a bit. Obviously, Haaland is as well, and there's loads of cheap players you can put in that you can actually play because they've got good fixtures this week. That's not going to be the same every week, so it's a really good week for that sort of setup, I think. Okay, we'll start at the back. Sanchez, Chelsea Sanchez away to Nottingham Forest. He's against a poor Nottingham Forest side. Just one goal in their last 4 league games. I don't even know if the manager's going to still be there, but this looks like a great game for clean sheet potential there. Just one goal in the last 4 league games. That's awful. So, yeah, I don't ordinarily would pick Sanchez, but for this week, looks good. Let's go for defenders. So I've got Gabriel there. Obviously, we know what he's about. Clean sheets, DEFCON. He's got 17 goals, 3 assists, so 20 attacking returns in the last 5 years. So he's got, pedigree there. Arsenal got a great run of clean sheets, away to a Fulham side with the 7th worst attack. Also, they've only got 1 clean sheet as well, so could get returns at both ends of the pitch there. I personally have only had him in my team for 1 week, and he got me 9 points. So I'm very happy with him. It's Gvardiol, Man City, against the Everton side, with their main creator, Grealish, ineligible, because, of course, he's a Man City player. So Gvardiol has an assist already. He's got a DEFCON return already, and 3 bonus points so far to help out should they concede. We can afford him, basically, if you go for a free hit this time around. And Mukiele from Sunderland, Alderete looks to be injured, so I've gone for the next best thing, really. Also, I've got quite low team value, and I wanted to be sort of honest to the free hit. So this is what I can afford. I've got 0.2 in the bank with this one. I think I would have gone for Diouf. If I had a little bit more, I would have gone for Diouf at West Ham. He could be playing as a wing back for West Ham. It's a good fixture anyway against Brentford. He's already got 4 assists. So I do prefer Diouf if you've got a bit of money. But if you haven't, you can go down to one of these Sunderland defenders. Of course, with this one, this guy is amongst the best, really. So he's got DEFCON in 4 out of the 5 matches since he's been available. And he's only missed out on that one, which was against Nottingham Forest, by 1 point. So he's a DEFCON monster. And he plays as Wolves side with the 2nd worst attack by expected goal involvement. So I think he's a very strong, cheap option that you can play here. But it looks like Alderete might be out. We don't know. Do check out team news later in the week for that. Across the midfield, okay, let's start with, I suppose, most controversial first, as in Salah. So he's going to have been jettisoned by a lot of people who have wildcarding. I myself got rid of him game week 7. But I think this is a perfect chance to get him in if you're free hitting, and to team him up with Haaland. As I said, long term, I don't like that. I just don't think it's that achievable with those 2 expensive players in long term, but it's good for this week. So he plays a Manchester United side that he likes scoring against. He will be looking for his 17th goal against them since 2020. So he likes scoring against them. I think I was talking to Mark Joblin, another writer at Fantasy Football Scout, and he was saying that I think Salah has been averaging in the league 2 attacking returns a game, so 2 goal involvements a game against Manchester United. So he's got really strong pedigree for this one. And even though Salah's form might have dipped slightly, and Liverpool's in general, I think this is quite a good fixture for him. So that's why I want him in. And free hit gives you that chance to do that. I've got Minter in there from Brighton. Brighton have the best fixtures over the coming game weeks. And starting, I think, with Newcastle as well. They do have a good track record against them, especially at home. Their best player is Minter, and he's against his former club. So I do like that narrative there. I always like a former club. Doesn't always work out, but I do like that one. He's Brighton's best player, and he's at home, even though it is against Newcastle. We've got Semenyo in there. He's just essential. He's here every week. Top scoring midfielder. He's Bournemouth's main threat with 4 goals and 2 assists. He's just absolutely incredible. Got to keep him in. He is away to Crystal Palace though, so it's tough. So arguably for a free hit, you can live without him. But I just think he's so good at the moment on his form. Okay, I've gone for Sarr. He's another value pick this year. He's emerged as main goal involvement threat. He's got an assist and 3 goals. He can score against anyone, so Bournemouth should be okay. It's a home game as well. If you don't fancy Sarr for this one, Enzo is a good backup. The reason I haven't included Enzo Fernandez in this is because I was just concerned about his knee problem, so he's not a definite. I know Anthony is also, I'll mention him in a sec, is also carrying a knock, we think. But we definitely know Enzo has got a knee problem and he's come back. He should be okay though, and if you don't want to get Sarr in, similarly, for a similar price, you can get Enzo Fernandez there. So he's a strong pick there. And yeah, finally, Anthony. So he could possibly be an injury risk, but I don't know. So we'll have to check out for team news on Friday about this. So keep an eye on that. But if fit, he looks a great pick. Now he came off with a knock to his quad about so thinking when the last game was. So coming up for 2 weeks when he when they face Leeds. So you would imagine with a knock he would have recovered for that. He's vital. It's a vital game. Real classic 6-pointer. For these 2 promoted sides. So I think he's going to be a strong asset if fit. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, he's not there. You can rejig this around a bit. You can bring him, perhaps go for a 4-4-2 and get one of those other defenders in that I'll mention in a sec. But yeah, he's a really good asset. I always sort of poke fun at FPL General, who's going without Haaland, but I think his greatest error is going out without Anthony this season. So according to Rate My Team tool on Fantasy Football Scout members area, he is the joint 3rd best captaincy shout along with Bowen. He's on level with points, expected to get the same as Bowen. He already has 5 attacking returns in a more central attacking role because he's usually a winger, but not this season. Only Semenyo and Haaland have scored more than his 4 goals so far. So he's a strong asset at home to Leeds. Doesn't get better than that if he's fit. So check that one out. Up front, Haaland, don't need to dwell on him too much. He's got 9 goals and an assist, an expected goal rate of every 70 minutes. So looks captainable in any game. He's at home to an Everton side that has conceded in 5 out of 7 games already this season. And of course, will be without their creative player, but that's more of an issue for their attack. We've also got Bowen, West Ham. So West Ham have been poor, but they have got a new manager. So jury's a bit out on how they're going to be. But you would imagine he'll do well. So he's performed okay. He's got 3 goals so far. High goal involvement for a team with a poor attack. But do they have a poor attack? We don't know yet because the new manager, we haven't got enough data really. So hopefully he should do well against Brentford for those that pick him there. So on my bench, I've got Dubravka. Arguably, you could play Dubravka as well. He's at home to Leeds. It's a crunch game for them, as I said. So I'm anticipating save points, if no clean sheets. He's achieved save points in all but one of his matches so far. I've got Pope and Dubravka, and I'm starting to think with those stats I should get Dubravka in. Although I think the game he didn't get was against Sunderland. So it's possible against promoted sides. But anyway, that doesn't make much sense. That's a sort of old wives' tale. Okay, so moving on, we've got Hartman as well on the bench, so doubling up on that Burnley defence. These are on the bench, really. You're not going to need them, hopefully, but you may do. It's international break. Hartman is similarly, could be clean sheets for him, plus possible assist points. He has 2 assists so far for a very cheap price. Plus he's got DEFCON points once, and almost the second time when he got a 9, just 1 short of the 10 he needs, and that was against Manchester United. I've also got Rodon. He's going to be a perennial one here because he can get returns, and he's just so cheap. It's a perennial one on the bench, really. He's always getting bench points for people who leave him there. Is this time to play him? I think the clean sheets are a possibility against Burnley, but you never know. He's got a goal and DEFCON returns have come in 2 matches so far, and he narrowly missed out on a third, so he's quite a strong asset for points there. And finally, I've gone for Mark Gui, cheap as chips. Hopefully won't be needed. Third bench, he's only 4.3. That's why he's there to save a bit of money. But he could play if Pedro's used as a number 10 for this match against the poor Nottingham Forest side, and arguably isn't the toughest fixture Chelsea face, especially because they've got Europe coming up. So I think Mark Gui could be quite a good asset to have here on a bench, and he might be needed really. So that's what I would go with. So yeah, I mean, good luck with the game week. I mean, as I was saying, it's going to be probably a low scoring game week, but it might not be if you can maximise it with some of these players, these sort of differentials as well. And I think it could be a good game week for Salah, who's been jettisoned by quite a number of teams. So he's gone from something like 50-60% ownership to something like 34-35% ownership. Like that's overall, that is. So I think there could be some disappointed Salah ditchers, myself included, in there as well. But there's lots of choice there, lots of cheap assets there. Plenty more content coming up on Fantasy Football Scout this week. All the usual stuff has been on. We've got Scoutcast, and we're looking at, and obviously team news as well with Neil later in the week. I think for a lot of these players here, that's going to be quite essential to find out what's happening there, especially after quite a problematic international break for many players there. Good luck with the game week. Take care. See you soon.